Yeah, but I want to bring up another thing about Strikeforce. It's not only that. It's not the fact that they're implementing the women fighting. It's not the fact that they're scooping up, the old UFC veterans. It's also the program in general. It just seems flimsy in comparison to UFC.
It does.
Cinematographic quality is
right, like
terrible.
the cameras they use just look horrible.
Yeah, you've got that one ref. Next up is
right, like Marv Albert. Like,
Jesus,
you don't. You get used. You want to hear Joe Rogan.
Yeah, man.
You want.
If I'm
he's
Strikeforce,
hip. He's today.
Yeah, I get someone like reputable. I give them a lot of money, and they're there every fight. Not only that, the refs. I mean, did you watch the last fight?
I
here?
did.
Did you see? They took a point away. I can't even remember which fight it was.
The Cyborg fight.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Cyborg was just pounding the life out of this chick, and she was beating her so bad that she was covering up every part of her body except the back of her head. A few of Cyborg's shots grazed the back of her head, and she got a point taken away.
Right.
The fight should have been stopped.
Yeah. The fight should have been stopped. And I guess that's what we go back for the female can take pain, the whole birthing thing. But, it's hard because it's almost like if you're going to have women fighting women, you've almost got to change the rules. Maybe the officiating's got to be different.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we can just say, let's just hope that they never implement, the NHL's terminology and don't refer to the rounds as periods because that could get ugly.
Well, it's kind of going back like when the UFC first started out. It wasn't a sport yet. It was originally just supposed to be
a championship.
It was just going to be like a one-time deal. They going with the old Valley Tudo style of who's got the best discipline, whatever. They said it was a circus, it was a spectacle.
Right.
It wasn't a sport. Even John McCain was leading some kind of campaign to ban the
Eradicate
UFC,
it,
just to get rid of it. And I'm feeling like it's kind of the same thing when you watch the females fight. It's like you're uncomfortable watching it, even though we watch fights all the time.
Right.
That's all we do. Watching the women fight, like you almost kind of feel uncomfortable watching it. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to see the guys do it to each other,
right.
But like the women doing it, I don't know.
You know what really annoys me?
Not to be old-fashioned.
No.
I'm just saying,
what really annoys me is
just my opinion.
You were just saying, you go from the old days when UFC wasn't an actual sport, and UFC has come so far ever since Dana White was president, and the new group has taken it over, new ownership. We've come so far into it's the fastest growing sport ever in the history of sports, and it's actually becoming legitimized. And then you've got this fucking gnat. Buzzing around its ear, which is Strikeforce, which is looking to illegitimize it again after it's come so far. It really pisses me off, but at the same time, I'm going to watch the fights.
I don't know if they're necessarily illegitimizing the sport as much as they're just not doing anything where it's going to set them apart. Because I mean, let's face it, the UFC is it's a sanctioning body with a great brand that's catering to a certain audience. And I think what Strikeforce is trying to do, they're trying to get a different kind of fan involved.
Yeah, they're trying to set themselves apart and just kind of trying to bring something new to the table to set themselves apart from.
And it's interesting because you look at the premium pay networks. You have HBO. They're the best when it comes to boxing telecasts.
Yeah.
And there was a point where they wanted to get a piece of the UFC, and that didn't happen. Showtime, they put on great fights with boxing, but they've never quite been at that HBO level. You have another inner battle here, too, with these networks. Showtime, in the same way that Strikeforce wants to have women because that's something the UFC doesn't have, Showtime wants to have Strikeforce because that's something that HBO doesn't have. And you just have all these weird little things, and you're right, Matt, it may be illegitimizing some aspects of the sport.
Oh, what twisted webs we weave when we practice the disease. Andy, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks
today,
for having me, guys. This is great, man.
Awesome, man. Come
you
back
guys
soon.
just hang out here and just talk about sports, and
that's it.
That's what you guys do, huh?
We chill.
Man, you guys got a great gig. I'm going to have to come back again and see you guys.
Come back soon, man.
All right, and this week on The Bruiser, we're also going to start something here. Let's get a little interactive with our listeners out there. You can contact us at thebruiserradio@yahoo.com or even on our MySpace page, Friend request us, myspace.com/TheBruiserRadio. You can friend us. We want to get your opinion on this. Right now, me and Matt, we're just having the argument this week. What is the greatest fight movie of all time?
Greatest fight movie of all time. Think about it. There's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them, yeah.
I mean, you've got $1 Million Baby, all the Rockies, Raging Bull, Bloodsport.
$1 Million Baby, that's the first one that comes out of your mouth?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're just throwing them all out
that's
there.
what I saw. I don't know. You get the best of the best. Cinderella Story, any
Karate Kid.
The Great White Hype even. And how about even a documentary like Mark Kerr, The Smashing Machine? Any movie you want. What do you think is the best?
What is the best? Next week on the show, at the end, we're going to take all of the votes into consideration. We're going to read some of your emails, and we're going to make the decision. We're going to make the executive decision.
Top 5 greatest fight movies of
all time. Now, I'm going to give you some of my favorites. Rocky, I love the first one and the second one. I love those two. You, though, are probably the biggest Rocky IV fan I've ever met in my life.
I will crush you.
What is it about Rocky IV that you like?
I don't know. I guess it was just the time. Don't discount my love for Rocky 1. Rocky 1 is an amazing film. I'll tell you what, if Rocky 1 came out and there was never any other Rocky films ever made, it would have went down as one of the greatest films in American film history. Probably would have been on the AFI, the American Film Institute.
But 2 was good
top
too.
100 list.
And you start Rocky 2 with him going in the ambulance right after the fight. That's
amazing. It's a great way to start. It's just like The Godfather. They start right off. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here.
Well, Rocky Balboa, the most recent one, was really good too. That's been replaying on FX lately, but yeah, Rocky 4. You're hiding away. What is it about Rocky 4? Was it the Cold War? What was it?
I don't know. Maybe I was in 4th grade. We were learning about the Cold War, and I saw the movie and hated Russians. I don't know.
Yeah, what a great movie that was. My favorite though, I like Rocky 1, Rocky 2. Those are really, really good. I also like Bloodsport a lot.
I like Bloodsport. I watched Bloodsport. Bloodsport was like that came out when I was just barely at the age to probably watch an R-rated movie. I was probably 16 or something like that. No, I was less than 16. I think I was I was 14, which I'm not saying R-rated. Well, nowadays, people are 14 and probably go see an R-rated movie. I'm getting off subject again.
They almost set that movie up though, UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, where you had the big Harley redneck dude who was just a street brawler, and then you have Frank Dukes going. I mean. What a ridiculous concept, though the movie was great.
Badass movie.
Oh, I mean, and how about the best of the best?
Best of the best, exactly. I mean,
Chuck Liddell listed that as one of his favorite movies of all time.
I can believe that.
Andre Ward, the current consensus number 1, number 2 boxer in the world, he says the best of the best. Those are some good movies, but we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Hey, don't discount the documentaries either. What about Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine? That's an awesome
was
documentary.
Good.
I mean, you're taking into account here not only was he a badass fighter in Pride, but he had a painkiller narcotics addiction. I mean, that's a great one. I think we're gonna have to leave out things like Nacho Libre and what else?
The Wrestler.
The Wrestler.
No, but
Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler starring
If
Mickey
we want
Rourke.
to get artistic with the documentary, the most recent Tyson movie, though, that was really, really good.
It was awesome, yeah.
Yeah, very
great.
There are a lot of really, really good fight movies, and I wish there were more. Even coming out later on this year, Irish Mickey Ward, a movie of his life. We have a lot of great fight movies, but we want to hear from you.
We want to hear from you. So,
what is your favorite fight movie of all time?
This week, think about it. What's your favorite fight? Give us your top 5.
The Bruiser Radio at yahoo.com.
Or myspace.com/TheBruiserRadio. Give us your top 5 movies. Next week, we're going to give you the Bruiser's official top 5 fighting movies of all time.
And, I mean, don't be surprised if the ballot box is stuffed with Rocky 4. Because
I'll tell you what, you listeners out there, fans, give us your top 5, but tell us why your number 1 is your number 1. I want a good rationale.
And in translation, Matt wants to know why your favorite movie is better than Rocky 4.
You're an asshole.
I am Hans Olsen.
And you've been listening to The Bruiser!